morning, students. This is the chapter 4, Your Histories and Creation of an Empire, the Mughal Dynasty. Mughal rulers created an empire that managed and expanded their kingdoms from Agra and Delhi in the 17th century. By the time they controlled nearly all the continents, they prepare a solid administrative structures and the concept of good governance, which is still of the practices under the modern democratic system. The word of Mughal is the corrupted from the Mongol, and the Mughals belong to a branch of Turk, and their great leader was Genghis Khan, the famous Mongol invader. They ruled Central Asia and Turkestan. Nearly the 100 years ago, for the Mughal rule from Akbar to Aurangzeb, gave the northern India an organized administrative system. Okay, and here is you can see your screen, Mughal dynasty. First ruler of Babar. Babar, Babar real names was Zahiruddin Babar. The first Mughal ruler succeeded to the throne of Fargana in Central Asia in 1494 when he was only 12 years old, but unfortunately he was forced to leave his ancestral throne due to the invasion of another Mongol groups. And after a few years of the wandering, and he raised of Kabul in 1504. The vast wealth of India and a poor political condition and the invitations from the noble of Delhi encouraged Babar to march to Delhi. He invaded the India 5 times and defeated Ibrahim Lodi, the last Sultan of Lodi dynasty. You know that at Panipat, first battle of Panipat in 1526, he effectively used the cannon of first battle of Panipat. Mughals did not like to be called Mughal or Mongol. This was because Genghis Khan's memories, was associated with the Mars and their innumerable people. It was also linked the Urj and their Mongol competitors. The causes of success of Babar in the first battle of Panipat, introduction of a strong weapons in the Indian army and a well-trained cavalry and good generalship. Babar arranged his soldiers in such a way they that way could move easily from one part of the battle of other. In 1527, he defeated Rana Sanga. Babar defeated Rana Sanga, Rajput rulers and the allies at the Khanua, and 1528 he defeated the Rajputs at the Chanderi. And last but not the least, before his death was Ime managed to establish his effective control over the Agra and Delhi. When he was died 1530s, became his second Mughal ruler of India, Humayun. Humayun was the second ruler emperor of India. He was ascended of throne in 1530s. Humayun divided his inheritance of the according to the will of his father and equally distributed the provision among his brother and the ambitions of his brother Mirza Karam weakened and Humayun's caused against Afghan competitors. He was defeated Sher Shah Suri at the Chausha and 1529 at Kannauj 1540s, which forced him to the fleesh to Iran. He received to help from Safarid and the captured Delhi again in the 1555, and he died in the same years. 1555, Humayun was died, and none other of Sher Shah Shuri was a son of Afghan Jagirdar, another ruler of the Mughal. He was very intelligent, he was very ambitious man. Within a few years, he raised a large army, became a powerful ruler covered by the present day of Bihar, Jharkhand, West Bengal. He died 1545 and buried of the Shararam. And next Mughal ruler 1555 to 1605, Akbar. Akbar ascended for a throne 1555 at the age of 13 years. He was a great ruler who took the various steps of the consolidation his empire. He founded an empire that was a truly secular of in chapter Deen-e Ilahi was the religion founded by Akbar. Akbar's expansions in empire, being a great warrior and the conqueror of Akbar extended his boundaries by the conquering of Gujarat, Bengal, Kashmir, Sindh, Central India, Deccan states, and many other states. He followed the policies of religion, tolerance, and established of the family relations with the Rajput in particular and the Hindus in general. He organized his administrations on the sound foot and took various steps of the welfare and their subject his subject. Akbar is a great ruler, Mughal Empire. All powers were vested in a empire. Mughal emperor was divided into provinces called a Shuhab. Shuhabs means Shubedars. And Shubedars, each province also had a financial officers are called also called Diwan and the maintaining of peace and order of the provision, and Subedar was a assistant by other officers such as military and ministers of the minister of charges of religious and the Fauzdari, Kotwali, so many other parts of the administrative policies. It also provided rich detail about the tradition and culture of the people living in India. But an interesting aspect of about the Aine Akbari. It is a rich statistically detailing about the things of dowers as a crops, yield, prices, wages, and revenues. Also, Akbar's nobles of the remain royal to the empire and functions efficiently. But by the end of the 17th century, many nobles built the independent network and their own and their loyalty of a weekends by their own self interests. And next is Jahangir. Jahangir was a Akbar's after the death of become a ruler 1605. After the death of Akbar, the military companion started the Akbar were continued by him. In the south, he was captured and the captured there are many fort in the northwest. Jahangir lost of Kandahar, Kandahar to the Persians. This was a major loss of trade routes. Jahangir married Mehrunisa in 1611 and they gave her the title of Noor Jahan. He struck the silver coin bearing his own title on one side and the name of Queen Begum. Noor Jahan on the other side of his pictures. And he remained extremely loyal and supportive to the monarch. Noor Jahan ruled his empire when he was addicted the wine and the opium. He also maintained a good relationship with Rajputs. He followed the principle of Akbar by the establishing Akbar. Jahangir died 1627, and next Mughal ruler became a ruler of Mughal Empire. So Mughal companion continued to the Deccan under the Shah Jahan. Shah Jahan became a ruler 1627. He faced the Afghan nobles Khan Jahan Lodi. Who was defeated by him. He failed in his Central Asia companion, and the companion is a siege of bulk from Uzbekistan, and Kandahar was a lost of the Shafarids. He led the various of the companion against the three Deccan states. Ahmednagar was taken in 1633. Bijapur was submitted in 1636, and the Golconda also in 1665. In the 1657 to 1558 also, and there was a conflict over the succession of amongst the Shah Jahan's son. Aurangzeb was a victorious, and his three brothers, including Dara Sukha and were killed. The Shah Jahan was a impatience for the rest of his life in Agra. Last ruler of the great Mughal, Aurangzeb. Aurangzeb is the meaning of Alamgir, conquered of a world, ruler, ruled for 49 years. Aurangzeb was a well educated person with a strictly religious orthodoxy. He had a acute of sense and political reals, and appetite of a power. Aurangzeb's reign can be divided into two phases: from when he was a north in India and when he was a Deccan in India. 1658 to 1680s, there was a mini revolt in northern India during the reign of Aurangzeb. In the northern part of India, Aurangzeb he had increased the land taxes from one third of one half of the produce of the Jat of Agra, Mathura region, and Satnamis and the Bundelas revolt against it. The most powerful revolts were that of the Rajputs and Sikhs and the Marathas also. Most of the Aurangzeb time's energy resource were the spending of the crushing these revolts. Aurangzeb spent the last 26 years of his reigns in the Deccan states. He wanted to crush the power of Marathas and strengthen his position in the Deccan. And Aurangzeb the annexed of Bijapur in 1686 and Golconda in 1687. However, these conquered of didn't benefits of the empire. It was very difficult to the administrators these land, as they were too far from capital. The Marathas were a powerful enemy. He didn't try to make peace with them. This weekend and empire, the Deccan policies of Aurangzeb was a failure. Finally, 1858, India came to directly under the control of British government. And now Mughal traditions of the successions. Mughals did not believe the rule of the promulgators and the system of firstborn, and the especially the eldest son. Instantly they, instantly they followed the Mughals and the customs of the inherited special kinds of the ownership arise especially under the common law upon the descents of real property and the several females also, and division of inheritance amongst all the sons. And Mughals relation with the other ruler became a powerful. Other ruler also joined their volunteers also. Rajputs as a good example of this. Many of them married their daughters of Mughal families, uh, and once defeated, however, very honorable, treated by the Mughals and their watans. And they are carefully balanced. They are defeating, but not humiliating, and their opponents of enable Mughals to the extended their influence over the many kings and the chieftains, but many refused to the accept, accept as well as the Shishodhya Rajputs. So next is Mughal administrations. Central government was the managed by the number of department, such as a department was under control of great official ministers. These official and like secretaries and ministers also and power also. Okay, and provisional governments, that a miniature of a central government, just that, that just subedar, divan and fauzdari, and judiciary systems and mansabdari system. So many rulers and administration systems are there. So Mughals did not believe that a rule of a system of inherited success. 17th century was a age of management of all around of development took place. So Mughal emperor after the 17th centuries was the age of splendor, which all other development took place. Ruler themselves were a great patrons, and administrative and military efficiency of the Mughal emperor lead to the great economic and commercial prosperities, and nobles and the officially live to the luxury and the comfortable life, and economic of the states got increased. During this period, architectures also, painting, music, literature, development to the great extent, especially during the Shah Jahan ruined of architecture had reached its genetic, and Jahangir was a all around of patron and architects of a 17th century produced the good writer and scholars works like Akbar Nama and Jahangir, Mashir Jahangir, and was were written during this period. This century was a comparatively an age of peace and prosperity. Okay, goodbye. We will meet next my video.